did. We've got to create a lot of confidence in ourselves, in who we are and what we're capable of doing. I have seen so many changes take place in people's lives with health, with relationships, with money. You see, when you work at this kind of a business, as many years as I've worked at it, you see a lot of different things. There is such an enormous amount of evidence that the way we're explaining this is how it works. If you go over it often enough, you'll be just as convinced as I am.
What's up, y'all?
All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. What did Lawrence say? All men dream.
What's up, guys?
Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind wakened the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous.
Go ahead. Get your entire team on
to make it possible.
Y'all already know what time it is.
Listen, you eat enough.
Get your team on, guys. We're getting this show on the road momentarily. Believe bigger, faster. You definitely want to make sure your team is in this group, one of the admins, and make sure they're added for those on Facebook. I know we got some people on IG as well. But go ahead. We're going to be getting this show on the road next 2 to 3 minutes. You want to take some time. You want to make sure not only that your team is on this call, but you want to make sure you got pencil and paper for what it is we're about to talk about. We're really about to get into it and get in the thick of things tonight. So you want to go ahead and start tagging your team. You want to make sure that everybody is on this call. If you can hear me clearly, go ahead and drop "I'm tapped in." Go to Discord, Telegram, any chat, and let everyone know that you're tapped in. Let's get it.
And then your mind may go all over the place. Well, I think what we want to do is drop all the barriers and start to realize who we are. I am a spiritual being. That's who I am. I have an intellect. That's something I have. I live in a physical body. Now think of this. Your spiritual DNA is perfect. It's perfect. That's the core of who you are. Right in the center of your conscience. It's perfect. That doesn't require any modification. It doesn't require any improvement. There is absolute perfection within us. Listen, you eat enough of this, you're going to become it. Now, there is a lawful process. You go from the thought to the idea to the thing. That's what prayer is. Prayer is the movement that takes place between spirit and form with and through you. Most people are praying for what they don't want. You have an intellect. And of course, your emotional state is dictated by how you use your intellect.
Cool, guys. We're 1 minute away.
Make the choice.
1 minute away. If you can hear me clearly, get your entire team on this call. You know, promotion is the highest paid skill set in this industry. It's the highest paid skill set. For where people lack skills, promotion can go ahead and change a lot of things for them. So go ahead and promote this. If you tuned in with me live on IG, go ahead and share this. It's critical that your team is on this call. So another 60 seconds and we're going to get this show on the road.
And take and build anything out of it you want. Where do we say spirit operated? Thought energy. Where thoughts are omnipresent. Where spirit's omnipresent. Doesn't matter where you are, thought's there. Now, we choose to activate one of our physical faculties, our intellectual. We tap in, we go to thought, which is omnipresent. We pull the thought together and we build the idea. That idea, if we hold it long enough, it will manifest with and through us because we are instruments of spirit. It's pretty cool. Listen, you eat enough of this, you're going to become it.
All right, let's get to it. What's going on, family? You know, we got some people tapped in with me on IG for the Facebook fam. What's going on, IG fam, wherever y'all streaming in from. What's going on, guys? Tonight's Believe Bigger Faster call. Step into your greatness, man. For those who don't know me, my name is Simmons, 30 years young. Been a part of this company for I Am Mastery Academy for some years now. Launched late 2017. And since then, I've really been fortunate to be able to share with people my experiences, the things that I've learned, things that I've done in this industry. One thing that I recognized ages ago is that whatever has happened to me, whatever situations weren't really for me, I've used those situations to help people so they can go ahead and have shortcuts, not really fall in the same holes that I've done, but also to give people some guidance as they really try to navigate this journey through entrepreneurship. And I can't lie, it's really been a very rewarding and it's been a good run thus far, but we're nowhere close to finish. We're gearing up for some major events, which I'll touch back on very later today. But today's call, to get right to it again, you want to make sure, actually, matter of fact, drop a one for me in the chat if you got a pad and pencil ready, if you got your notepad and pencil ready, because Pablo Picasso said that amateurs try to remember. Professionals, they actually write things down. So whenever I'm in an environment, whenever I'm around somebody who knows more than me, wherever I'm around or in a place where I'm ready to get information, I make sure I have my pad, I make sure I have my pencil, I make sure that I'm tuned in and whatever it is. And if it's a situation where I may not have a pad or pencil, I got my notes, I got something so I can fully keep track of what it is that I need to learn, and so I can make sure that information. So I see we got the ones coming in over and over, guys. And the reason why that's so critical is because you want to get to a place to where you're starting to get to mastery. And I feel mastery is very important, right? For those who don't know, I'm a professional athlete. On top of what I do in the business, my number one passion over all that is actually music. And how I do one thing is how I do everything. Right, and that's the current paradigm that I've built and that I've grown. And what I'm always trying to do is trying to increase and improve my paradigm. Okay, and for those who don't know, a paradigm is a multitude of habits, right, that govern every move that you make. It affects the way that you eat, the way that you walk, the way that you talk. Right, it governs your communication, your work habits, but most importantly, it dictates your successes and your failures. I'm gonna say that again because this is a very critical word, but this is a very critical concept that people must understand if they want to have different results in life. Actually, matter of fact, drop a 7 for me in the chat if you want to win at a bigger level, if you want to create a higher level of success for yourself in life, more importantly this year, right? So a paradigm is a multitude of habits that govern every move that you make, affect the way that you eat, way you talk, the way that you walk, governs your communication, your work habits, but most importantly, it governs your successes and your failures. And one thing I want you to know to really start this thing off is it doesn't matter how hard that you work, okay? That's a common misconception. Hard work is good, but it doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how many hours that you put in. If the paradigm that you have currently does not change, ultimately your results will remain the same from one year to the next. And since I've been in this industry, I've been able to watch people over time since I started to now, and I've seen some people that have progressed, some that haven't, right? And the only reason is because their paradigm hasn't changed. I remember in 2014, I was with a group of individuals. We were promoting something called instant rewards. I think it's like level rewards now or something like that. And we were really the goal was to get $10 per whatever sale that we do, and that was the goal, right? But in time, all of us grew, right? Our paradigms changed. We started to become more aware of what was out there from a monetary standpoint, and a lot of people, they stay in the same place, whether it's where their business is, whether it's where their income is, whether it's where their relationships are, and that's only because the paradigm has never changed. And the amount of work, the amount of effort, it really doesn't matter, right? So I'm gonna really dig into this thing because I've been really studying a lot of these concepts for some time now. And like I said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I made it a point to master what it is that I'm talking about from a student standpoint and really start to apply that. So every person has what's called a central nervous system. Drop a yes if you've ever heard that term, right? And it's the most complex electrical system known to man when it comes to the human beings, right? So it's a cybernetical system, and a paradigm and cybernetics, right, are essentially the same, right? Because they're both control systems, okay? They're both control systems. So if you want to alter the state that you're in, you want to alter the results that you're getting, you want to alter the things that you're really attracting to you, you got to first alter that paradigm. It's very critical. You got to alter that paradigm in order for you to get to the place where you can actually go ahead and really start achieving those new results. So one thing that we want to understand is that when it comes, and this is for people who are building a business. Matter of fact, I know we got some people on this call who desire to go chairman. Actually, let me get a shout out to all my chairman, not only my chairman, my P1s, P2s, P150s, P600s, P5000s, P2000s. Shout out to y'all. But for those who are really trying to build a massive organization, one thing that I hear a lot of people talk about is culture. Okay, now companies, they have paradigms. People, they have paradigms, right? But organizations, they have paradigms too. All right. Groups, right? Subgroups inside the company, everybody has their own paradigm, right? And culture is nothing more than group habit. For the people who are building the business, I want you to write that down, okay? Because your organization is going to have a paradigm about itself as well, right? One thing that Bryce Thompson said that always stuck with me, he said, you got to make a culture of winning in your organization. Once you do that, essentially your job is done. I heard this, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, and it always stuck with me. All right, we're talking about a gentleman, 25, hit the rank of chairman 750, or I'm not gonna get into numbers for purposes of rules and legalities in the company, but if you know, you know, right? So culture is nothing more than a group habit. So cybernetics, right? It's like your thermostat. Whenever you set a thermostat, it's going to automatically run and control the temperature of the house. So if it's cold outside and inside your house is cold, but you change that thermostat, it'll automatically change the temperature and get it to where it is desired, right? And then it'll turn off, okay? Similar to a plane. Planes have something that we know as autopilot, right? So the cybernetical system, if a plane is going off course, the cybernetical system is going to automatically put it back in line, right? A gentleman by the name of Price Pitcher, he said that rockets fail their way to the moon, right? Most of the time rockets come up, most of the time rockets go into the air, they're not really right on track to get to where it is. So it's correction. And when it comes to humans, they're the same way, right? When it comes to humans, they're the same way. Most of the time, they're not really on track, so they're currently correct. And I know for myself, that's really the case. But usually when a person sees a change in their life, it's drastic, right? When a person starts to change, because most people stay the same. We're creatures of habit. And when we're talking about changing paradigms, if you want to change your results, if you want to change exactly what it is that you have, something about you is going to have to change. All right, something about you is going to have to change. I remember in 2016, right? In 2014, my paradigm started to change. You know, I came down here to Georgia with a dream, but no dollars to match that dream. And it was a point in time where I was trying to make $50 a day, right? Now, I always had aspirations of bigger and better, but through awareness and through constant spaced repetition of this information, I started to fully understand that I don't have to wait for it, right? I didn't have to wait till I was 35, right? I didn't have to wait till I was 45. I didn't have to wait till I was 60, right? To learn how to make a million, millions, billions, whatever. And that massive paradigm change is what allowed me, all right, and a lot of those close to me to change everything. It was a time I couldn't make $200 to $300 in a month, right? And then shortly after that, right, had drastically changed that. Right? Drastically changed that in a very short time, but it was because of the change that I had, right? And my paradigm, the change that I had, and a lot of stuff that I was actually looking at, right? So when it comes to the paradigms, just like cybernetics, right? They both maintain a delicate course of action, and they're never going to deviate from that course that has been established. You see, in 2014, I started listening to audios, right? I would wake up listening to John Maxwell. I would go to sleep listening to a Les Browse. I would go to sleep listening to a Miles Monroe. I would spend my day listening to a Grant Cardone, right? And I started forming that habit of listening to people who had what it was that I wanted. Right, I would drive from Kennesaw, Georgia, in a house where it was me and somebody else paying maybe $700 a month. I couldn't even bring my half majority of the months I was there. I would leave that and I would drive through the city. I would go through Midtown. I would go through downtown. I would drive through Buckhead and see the skyscrapers because I knew that was a change that I wanted in my life. And I started doing that with constant spaced repetition, right? But it was the repetition of the things that I was doing that allowed my life to change. Right, and a lot of people fail because they think that repetition is illogical, right? Paris, why everywhere you go, you keep Think and Grow Rich with you, right? I don't care if I'm at practice, I'll pop out the book and go read it and walk around the track, right? Why do you always have a note card? Why are you always going to these seminars, right? It's 10, it's 11 o'clock at night. Why are you training? Why are you taking notes, right? Because the constant spaced repetition is what allowed my life to change. The constant spaced repetition of Kobe Bryant dribbling a basketball, shooting, getting stronger when he came from Italy to America is what allowed him to be one of the greatest players of all time, okay? So I fell in love with the repetition. Paris, why do you get up 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, right? Go run. How do you get, and one thing, like when I post my stories, one of the stories that always gets commented on is me when I'm in the ice bath, okay? And people are like, yo, I don't understand how you could do something like that. Well, I've been taking ice baths since I was 15 years old. I walked into the training room, right, with Coach Heyman at Southeast Raleigh Magnet High School, and I said, hey, what is that machine right there? He said, it's an ice bath. I said, well, what does that do? And he told me exactly what it does, and he allowed what it did and allowed me to get in it, and I've been doing it ever since, right? So people see it and it's logical. I'm used to that, right? But the constant spaced repetition in every aspect of my life, like I said, I'm very intentional on mastery. So it doesn't matter if I'm at the track, it don't matter if I'm on a call with you all, we talking business, it don't matter if I'm in the studio, whatever I do. One thing that I tell a lot of people that I talk to is I don't do everything well, but what I do, I really do, okay? You put Madden 2022 on, I'm getting waxed. Like, I'm not even gonna play with it. But the few things that I do, I really do. Like, I really do them. And that's because I put in so much time, so much effort in really mastering the things that I decide to really put my effort to, right? So hearing this information is not enough. Going to the events is not enough. Hopping on my lives is not enough, right? It's really not enough. The change is going to come from the actual understanding and application of this information. You want to write that down. Change is only going to come in your life from understanding and application of the information. I can hear my coach when I'm at the track tell me anything, right? But if I don't start to understand and apply it, I'm not going to see any change in my results, right? And that change, when we're talking about changing your paradigm, right? Because it's a multitude of habits that governs every single move that you make. That change comes from the subconscious, okay? That change comes from the subconscious. It's not a conscious mind, right? This is not a taste, touch, hear, smell, something that you see. This is a subconscious thing, right? And that's why these topics are so critical, right? To be able to shape your future, right? You have to be willing and able to change your paradigm. In order to shape your future into whatever it is, you got to be willing and able to fully change your paradigm. And the issue is all people are able, but most people are not willing. You see, a lot of people really limit themselves because they resist the change that's needed. And so you go from 2015, you go to 2020, right? You get to 2022, and then you look at life and not much has changed because we all have the same ability, right? We're God's highest form of creation, but we're not willing to fully change, right? So to create that change, you got to be what? You got to be illogical, because logic is what stops most people. The Wright brothers, they were illogical, right? Somebody told them they would go to hell because they thought about flying vehicle, motor vehicle of some sort through the eye. They thought about flying an aircraft through the sky, right? Back then it was illogical. When I look at Roger Bannister in the 4-minute mile, right? They told him his heart would stop and he would die if he ran under 4 minutes, right? But he defied logic, right? So in order to really win and to change your paradigm, you have to be illogical. There's no if, ands, what's, or buts about it. So the one question is really, are you ready to do that? Right? Because it's a difference between wanting to change and being ready to change and expecting the new results. It's a major difference, right? A major difference, right? And when you're willing to change, you're going to start changing the way that you move. Like if you have the same results as you had a year ago from today and not much has changed, then you're not willing to get to that next level at this current point in time, right? You see, years ago, I started changing who I was hanging around, right? I started changing the people that I was listening to. I started changing the environments that I was in, right? This was many years ago. I started changing the conversations that I was having, right? Because people are going to attract people with like energy, all right? And I started to understand that if you're having conversations with people, right, who are toxic and who are talking about all types of toxic problems, you got to ask yourself, what do they resonate with me so much? What inside of me do they resonate so much that they're comfortable sharing their toxicity? And you know, when I understand that, everything changed. Everything changed. I don't care who the person is. Family, friend, it don't matter who the person is. What inside of you resonates with the toxicity in a person? And granted, it's nothing wrong with somebody sharing their story. I'm not saying to be closed up, not vent, not get out what you need, right? But I know y'all are catching my drift. Okay. The fact is, the truth is that most people are extras in their own movie. Okay, they're extras in their own movie, and before you can do anything, before you can achieve whatever great, you got to see it. You know, I was listening to one of the recent calls, and Justin was talking about how the ladies were talking about Walt Disney when he died right before being able to see Disney World. And they were like, man, you know, it's so horrible that he didn't even get to see what he created. And somebody was like, no, you're wrong. The only reason it's here now is because he saw it ages ago. The reason why kids are at the biggest attraction and you got parks all around the world trying to mimic what they did is because he already saw it. So no, he may not have been able to see it in the physical, but like we talked about on the last call, the spiritual seed and the physical seed is really no difference, right? It's just a portion of time that it's going to take from one to go to the other, right? From that spiritual energy to turn into physical. Why? Because energy is omnipresent. It's always here, right? It's always here. It's never created nor destroyed. People don't get energy, they release energy. I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, right? So if your results are struggling, matter of fact, drop value for me wherever you tuned in. If you catch any type of value with what it is that we're talking about. I'm glad that I got it was his wife. Appreciate you that we on live, IG live with it, right? I want to make sure y'all can we still going good. Drop value for me if you catching any type of value from the day, right? And here's the thing, if you're struggling in life and any aspect, if you're seeing any type of lack in the physical, okay, and I want you to listen to me very clearly because you got to understand this, right? You got to be not only able, you got to be willing to change, right? It's because you struggle to hold on to the idea in your mind of what it is that you truly desire, if it is even a desire. I'm gonna say that again. If you're struggling right now, right? We talking long-term struggles. It's just like nothing's changing. It's because you fail, right? Or you're struggling, not even fail, to hold on to that idea in your mind, right? And I know if you're broke, I know if you're in debt, I know if you got stuff going on, that can be challenging, right? That can be challenging. If your business isn't going the way that you wanted to, that can be challenging, right? If things aren't looking the way you thought they were going to look, that can be challenging, right? That can be challenging, but you got to change that, right? You got to really get tapped in to the spiritual side of things, because it's 90 to 99% of all success you're going to have in life. 1 to 10% is the actual physical part, the actual skill set. That's why y'all rarely hear me talk about skills, right? Very rarely. I might do a skills camp, teach you on prospecting, presenting, and promoting. That's cute, that's fancy, whatever, adorable, right? But to really win, you got to master what it is that I'm talking about here, right? Because you don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just got to know that it is. Right? For those who want to earn more money, one thing I say every day is I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple streams on a continuous basis. It's not a day that passes where I don't say that. When I look at all the affirmations that I have, I don't even need my note card. Granted, I use it because I'm teachable and coachable, but I've said it so much now that it's memorized, right? It's a habit. Right? I say that affirmation just like I wake up and brush my teeth. I say that affirmation just like I take a shower, right? And because I'm doing that, that's all I think about. Because every single time that you think, you're creating. So if you're seeing any type of lack or limitation, you got to ask yourself, what type of thoughts have been coming into my mind? You all hear me talking about vision environments and books and writing goals and all this, that, and the fourth. I got a beside me. Hold on. Drop the phone. Want to make sure y'all are back good. Okay, cool. Beside me, this is one of my many books with my gratitude. So I got a gratitude section. I got a section for leads, section for Forex, section for training, and grateful list. Okay, this is back to September 23rd last year. I got all types of books. I just write down. I can go forward to December, go forward to New Year, right? And I got to see this stuff all the time, every single day, because I'm going to become what I think about. So how critical, how imperative is it that you focus on the things that you're actually thinking about, right? This is critical. This is critical. I got pictures of the things that I want. Why? So I can keep seeing that image. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So if your words are powerful and a picture is worth 1,000 words, how beneficial do you think it would be to see endless pictures? Every time you think, you're creating. So you got to ask yourself, what is it that you really want? Okay? What is your goal? Right? Not what you think you can get. When I ask people and I ask them what they want, you got to remove the lid from what you think you can accomplish. You got to remove the lid. I don't live with lids at all. Right? I've been called unrealistic. This stuff is impossible my entire life. Right? And I've been turning non-believers into witnesses my entire life as well. We just getting started for real. Right? So you got to take the lid completely off of whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Right? And a lot of people fail because they don't understand truly what it is that they want. Okay? They don't really understand truly what it is that they want, right? You don't got to have the money. You don't got to have the right situation to change your life. Because if you haven't made the decision, it's never going to matter. Because once you make the decision, write this down. Once you make the decision, your mind is going to flip into a completely different frequency. And then you're going to start to attract whatever you need, whatever is required for the manifestation of what it is that you've decided to do. I'm going to say that again because this is very critical. Once people actually understand that, everything will change. Well, Paris, I'm not getting the trading results. I'm not hitting chairman like I desire. Once you make the decision, it's not going to happen until you make a decision, right? Make a decision. With this stuff I do, I'm obsessed. Simple. People can watch me for the last however years. They've always seen my face. They've always seen me posting. They've always seen me pursuing what it is that I want. I've stayed the course continuously. Once you make the decision, your mind will flip into a higher frequency, and then you will start to attract whatever is required for the manifestation of said goal, for the manifestation of what it is that you said you wanted to do. Okay? Automatically. Decision. So I write my goals so I can see them. And I can think about them because every thought creates. My economy, I created, right? I created. Gas is high. Okay, cool. Cool. Go to $5, $6, $7, $8, $10, right? Because when I start thinking otherwise, and I'm thinking from a place of lack of limitation, and being that I know that thoughts create, I'm going to do what? Start attracting more of that into my life. I hope if everybody don't catch it, one person is fully going to understand what it is that I'm saying. Okay? So what do you want? Take the lid off your mind. Anything you want. Anything you want. And the truth is, right now, you don't even have to believe it. But if you follow everything that I say daily, you're going to start to. Okay? Because our belief system is based upon our evaluation of something. And frequently, if we reevaluate a situation, our belief about it will change. Right? One thing that all religions have in common, all religions, it don't matter what the religion is that you have to believe. They all say you have to believe. And they are in unanimous agreement about this. You have to believe, okay? They're in unanimous agreement. And if you don't believe, whatever you want is not going to happen. And the truth is, if you're not a believer, it's going to show up in every single thing that you do. You see, when I talk to people, granted, I won't bring it up, right? Rarely, unless it got to be very extreme. But when I talk to somebody, I know if they're believing or not. It's very critical. All right, it's very easy to see. And off of that, then I do the proper things to get them in environments where they can increase their belief. Get them around information, things that I've read, right? Things that I've done that have helped me continue to build my belief, because it's a practice, just like anything else. But our belief is based upon our evaluation of something. And frequently, if we reevaluate that situation, our belief is going to change, right? Years ago, I used to want to make $1,000 to $2,000 a month, right? That was the goal. Since then, that's changed drastically, right? And the constant spaced repetition of hearing this information then showed me, right? Paris, you can have way more than that. And you don't got to wait for it. It can happen now, right? It can happen now. Oh, you want a 5 figures? Oh, you want a 6 figures? Oh, you want a 7? That can happen now, right? That can happen now. It's no lack of limitation. You got to stop thinking that it's going to have to take forever. No, it can happen now, Paris. It can happen right now, right? In the business, everybody knows my goal is 50 chairmen. It's going to happen. I'm relentless, and I'm already living like that. So I don't even stress, right? Oh, such and such left the business. Awesome. Cool. I had endless go on to whatever they felt was better, and I wish them the best. I bless everybody on their exit and re-entry if it comes to that, right? But I know exactly what it is that I want. You can work hard your entire life. I know people. I got family that's worked hard their entire life. You can get on these calls. You can talk to your upline. You can go to the events. You can tell them what it is that you say that you want, right? But if you don't believe it's happening, that it's going to happen, if you don't believe that it's already happened, it won't happen. How do you believe? Reevaluate the situation, right? Well, Paris, they left my business, right? Reevaluate the situation. Paris, the anchors were removed, right? The weights were removed for the ship, so now we can set sail how we need to. You got to reevaluate the situation, right? We're God's highest form of creation. In track and field, one common misconception is people got a negative relationship with time. Oh, because track and field, you got people that, especially for a lot of young ladies, a lot of females, their body is a lot different. So you got girls that might be 16, 17, 18 running with people that are older. And people think the older you get, right, the less valuable you are, right? The weaker you'll get, right? It's a lady by the name of Gail Devers, okay? She's an Olympian. I don't know who's that tapped into track, but y'all might have heard of Flojo, Gail Devers. They was glammed up, had the nails, but when it came to them sprints, they was not like that. Gail Devers was 37, and in track and field, that is known to be ancient. Like, boy, what are you still doing out there? She ran not only her fastest time, but to date, one of the fastest times ever ran at the age of 37. Why? Because she fully believed in what it is that she can do, right? And even if she didn't believe, what did she do? She reevaluated the situation, right? When she was in the weight room and she saw herself getting pressure, Gail was a problem. She's a big problem. Very sweet lady. She's out here in Atlanta, Georgia too, right? Very close, right? Very close with her. And her daughter, hey, that's a whole nother topic, but she fully believed in herself. There was actually a story about Michelangelo as well. Michelangelo, the famous painter, and he has a world-renowned painting, David. Some of y'all may know it, some of y'all may not. If y'all Google it, it'll come right up, right? Someone came and they knew that he was working on it. They came like a few months later and they were like, Michael, like, bro, you haven't added anything to this within the last few months, right? And he like, what are you talking about, right? I added a little detail to the knuckles, right? I went to his ear and started chipping at a few things, right? And they were like, that's so small, like that's so trivial. And his response is, trivials make perfection. You see, what it is that I'm talking about, it's the little things, right? It's the small changes that can completely change everything, right? The difference between success and failure, it's a very thin line. It's doing a few things right every single day. That's critical. When you really understand that, everything will change, right? When you truly understand that, everything will change. It's doing a few things that you were doing wrong right every single day, right? That's it, a quick flip. Well, Paris, I'm losing money. Well, if you would have just clicked buy instead of sell, or vice versa, you would have won. Perspective. All you got to do is get to that place, that state of mind, right? And in this industry, a lot of people fail because they don't really understand what it is that I'm talking about. They don't really understand the art of selling, as some would say. People here show the plan every single day. Why is that? Right? Why is that? And people don't do it because they don't understand this spiritual side. Right? Why do I show the plan so much? Because I understand I got to get in the habit of believing that people are on the other side listening to me and wanting to join my business, even if they're not even there. I'm going to say that again because one person is going to fully understand what I said. Okay? If it's one, I've done my job. I got to show the plan constantly because I got to get in the habit of believing that people are on the other side, eager to hear and join my business. Enjoy my business, even if they're not even there. David said, show up every single day and show the plan. In 18 months, if not one person is on that call, you're going to be richer than you can ever imagine. And the people who don't do it, they don't understand how simple this is, right? I didn't say show it to 1 million people. No, you got to show so you can start building the belief, because belief changes when you reevaluate a situation. Brittany and Malcolm Garrison, they had a presentation 3 years ago. Nobody showed up. They're now chairman 50s in the company, okay? They're now chairman 50s in the company. I've been good. So if compliance on this joint, they can't really hold me for nothing today. All right, we've been good, right? But nobody showed up, and they bought a venue, or they had a venue that was scheduled to set like 50 to 60 people. So you got to do this every single day, right? When I'm showing, I'm envisioning thousands of people listening to me, right? Paris, how can you do a presentation and people join? Because this was my mindset. Oh, I don't want to show the plan and nobody's showing up, right? Because that's what you're thinking, that's what you're attracting. Because that's what you're thinking, because that's how you're operating, nobody's going to join your business, right? I've shown the plan over the last few years. There's been times where nobody has shown up. Then there's been times I've woken up to 5, 6, 7 people joining my business in a day. Why? Because I don't really care about any of that, right? I don't really care about any of that. I know I got to master this, right? Because if you master the mundane, you're going to make millions. You master the mundane, you're going to make billions. You master the mundane, you're going to change your life forever, right? Like I said, the way I treat this business is the way I treat anything else. The intensity I give on the track, in the weight room, in the gym, in the pool, in the studio, in strengthening the relationship with my family is the same intensity I give to this business, right? I don't do everything, but what I do, I really do. Bob Proctor doesn't train on everything, right? But what he trains on, he mastered. David, he don't talk about everything. What he talking about, he mastered. Kobe Bryant, he might not be the best golf player, right? But when it came to his domain and what it is that he did, he dominated it, right? You are God's highest form of creation. Your spiritual DNA is perfect. It requires no modification or improvement. Write that down. It requires no modification or improvement. And most people reject this information, right? People see me with the guy got me stuff on. That's what I live by. It requires no modification or improvement. Perfection is within you. It's the essence of who it is that you are. And spirit operates by an orderly law. It's always for expansion and fuller expression. And it's itching to express itself in a greater way all the time. It doesn't matter what you're doing, something inside of you wants to do it better. If you're running, you want to run faster. If you're jumping, you want to jump higher. It doesn't matter what you are doing, you want to do it better. Okay? It's the essence of who you are. This is critical, guys. Now, whether you do it better or not, that's another thing. Your wants, your desires, they come from this essence. Okay? They come from this concept, right? It comes into your consciousness, right? And we don't want to get, right? We want to grow. You want to remember that. You don't want to just get something. You want to grow. And as you grow, you're going to automatically attract the rewards that come with it. Man, who is really catching me tonight? Right? It might be 10. Well, listen, I know it's 7 on the west side, so y'all probably up. But I hope y'all really, you don't want to get, you want to grow. And as you grow, you're going to automatically attract all the rewards that come with it. Ranking up is a simple game. Earning money is a simple game. Once you learn this, you're going to want to learn more. But it's what you do with it that's going to be the game changer. Like I said, to know is not enough, because to know and to not do is to not know it all. Right? So your spiritual DNA is perfect. It is all knowing. It is all powerful. You've seen stories about children that are trapped under cars, right? And people who might be smaller than me will just lift the car up, right? And they be like, yo, how in the world did you even do that? And they respond, I don't know, right? But your spiritual DNA is perfect. It is all knowing, right? All this, write this down. It is all knowing. It is all powerful. Okay? It is all knowing. It is all powerful. You don't get energy, you release energy. So all the energy that ever was or ever will be is evenly present in all places at all times. I'm going to say that again. All the energy that ever was or ever will be is evenly present in all places at all time. And you don't have to get energy. All you got to do is release it. And desire is a triggering mechanism to releasing energy. So if you don't have desire, you won't have the energy. Man, hey, that boy's spitting, if I must say so myself. I can't even hold y'all. So if you'll move lethargically, right? You'll barely move, right? But where desire is, energy is always there. Always. It's ever present. It don't matter where you are. It don't matter what's going on, right? It doesn't matter what's going on. They lift the car without effort, right? Because it's wherever it needs to be when it needs to be there. When it needs to be there. This is the real you. This is the real essence of who we all are. Now it's up to you to become aware of it. You see, I kept hopping on calls because I had to even become more fully aware of the things that I'm talking about right now. You got to ask yourself, am I who I really pretend to be? It may be somebody on here who wants this so much, who wants whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish this year so much. Okay? Your spiritual DNA is perfect. It's all knowing. It's all powerful. It's ever present, right? It's the real you. I say every single day. I got a bunch of affirmations. Y'all hear them every now and again on calls. Another one is, I'm so happy and grateful now that my spiritual DNA, that I've realized my spiritual DNA is perfect and that perfection is within me. I begin each day looking for areas of my life where I want to see that perfection expressed habitually, right? Say it every single day, right? You're a spiritual being in a physical body. Now, spirit is everywhere. It's in rock, trees. Science calls it energy. Energy is omnipresent. But what separates us from any of those other forms is a few things. One, we were given the intellect. You want to write this down. That's your higher faculty that allows you to manipulate that energy, which gives you the ability to create. And creation is just transferring, right? Causing one form of energy to move into another form, right? Taking what is and moving it into something that it wasn't. Only humans have the ability to do that. Okay? Actually, drop a 2 for me if you got a piece of paper and a pen, because I'm gonna do a little exercise with y'all, right? As we get ready to close this thing, we're gonna talk about perspective, right? As humans, now on top of intellect, you got the ability to have perspective, right? Now, I want somebody to write down an issue they may be going with currently or something they've recently been struggling with, and just write it down on the paper, right? Drop done for me in the chat when you're done. Okay? Just write it down, whatever it may be. And it can be a summary, like you ain't gotta go too long, but when you finish, drop done for me, right? Because it's gonna be critical, and I know we got a little delay, so I'll give y'all a quick second. Repeat that one more time. Write down an issue that you may be dealing with in life. It don't have anything to do with the business, right? Something you may just be dealing with, right? Trying to overcome, right? Drop done when you've written it down, though. Write it down on paper physically right now. Okay? Right? Now look at wherever that paper is. Okay? And ask yourself, right? That same problem you wrote down, right? Is that problem in you, or is that problem on the table? Okay? Is that problem in you, or is that problem on the desk, wherever you're sitting? Is that problem in you, or is that problem on the computer? Right? You see, when we change what we look at changes. And we're powerful because we have the opportunity, right? We got the power to actually do that. Animals don't have perception, right? And this concept is simple. And I had to hear this over and over again, right? Is that problem in you, or is it on the paper? Right? I had to hear that over and over and over again. But with the repetition, at some point in time, a light bulb is going to come on, right? And your life is going to change forever, right? We got intellect. We got perception. We got intuition. I operate from a place. One thing my coach told me, I never forgot it. He said that if you follow your intuition, he said, trust your intuition, it'll never lead you astray. Ever. I was at a track meet in Florida, and like I just wasn't feeling physically where I wanted to be to compete, right? And I went over, and he just looked at me. He said, trust your intuition. It'll never lead you astray, right? If your intuition is telling you, chill out, then do it. And I said, cool. But as humans, we have the ability to do all of those things, right? It's how we use these intellectual factors that are also going to dictate the emotional state that we are in. Now, this is critical, okay? Because when we get emotionally upset, right, we're letting someone else's ideas, we're letting somebody else's, whoever that person's idea may be, to go into our subjective, go into our subconscious mind and alter our vibration, right? Well, Paris, she did this, and she said that, and he said this, right? Paris, do you even want to hear what he said about you? Honestly, I could care less. I could care less, right? We're spiritual beings, and spirit is everywhere. At any time, I can alter my vibration because it's omnipresent. It doesn't matter what's happening in life. Doesn't matter what the situation is. Doesn't matter what was said. Doesn't matter what happens. Spirit is full of expression and expansion, right? It's a possibility for me, right? The intellect feeds our emotional mind, right? And as you do that, as it starts to feed, crazy things start to happen, right? Regardless of what side it is. Think about this. Wouldn't it be crazy if we were 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, whatever it is, and we're towards the end of this journey in our physical life, and we reflected back, and we sitting there thinking, what if I would have done this, right? What if I would have went there? What if I would have attempted to do this? What if I would have actually tried to give it my all, right? Right? What if that was is and I say that because for a lot of people, that's what happens, right? That's what happens. But what I understood is if you, even regardless of the outcome, if you try, right, and fail, I'm talking about fail big, it's very exhilarating. I'm talking about like fail big. I've had some beautiful losses. I've had some massive failures, right, which have completely changed my life, right? All because I wasn't afraid to try, right? I hear people, I don't even talk about people, but I hear people talk about couples. One they may feel is highly unattractive, the other they may feel is highly attractive, and it's like, yo, how did he get her? How did she get him? Whatever it may be. Well, I'm sure that individual, right, wasn't afraid to fail, wasn't afraid to pursue and fail, right? And the fact that it was able to happen successfully, right, shows me that that's not the first time this happened. This is critical. That's not the first time it's happened, right? Because we're creatures of habit, right? A paradigm is a multitude of habits. So that man, that woman, their paradigm, what is built as such is they're going to pursue whatever it is that they want. Critical, right? They're going to pursue whatever it is that they want, right? And when stuff happens, even when I look at failures, when stuff happens in life, right, you got to ask yourself is, what can I learn from what's going on? What can I learn from what just happened? Because in every situation, it's a moment of space between a situation, right? Catch this. It's a moment of space between the situation, right, and how you handle it. Now, depending on the situation, that moment of time may be different. That space, but it is a moment of space in every situation on what happens and how you handle it. Okay? And animals react, humans respond. Response is the highest form of mastery. You see, a few years ago, I made the decision to be completely unbothered, right? Completely unbothered, right? Completely. I was in I had came out of a relationship and I was just irritated for the longest of time. It was quite a while. And I said, you know what? Paris, no. Like, no, that we're not doing this like ever again in life. Man, I said, all right, I'm gonna really like truly master this. And I started to learn how to respond to things, right? Not react, right? To different people. I put myself and I'm still getting tested to this day and passing with flying colors. Before I went to West Palm Beach, I had an issue with a barber, and I look back to, I didn't even have an issue. It was a situation. And I look back to probably how I would have reacted 5-6 years ago. And I was able to smile, walk away, still paid, wish people the best, and keep moving. And you'll know that you're growing when you don't feel the same way as you did in similar situations over time. I actually had a very good test in February. February, I think. Yeah, February. I go to Tennessee. So I moved to Georgia. For those who don't know, I left Hampton, Virginia. I had a coach at A&T, and he was coaching me. Went to Hampton for grad school, and he said, Paris, I'm getting a job in Kennesaw State University. You can come down. You can be a grad assistant. We can train. We can get ready for the Rio Olympics. Right? This was 2014. Right? My coaches at Hampton, they were like, yo, you want to coach here? I said, no, I'm going to go train my coach. It'll get me in Atlanta, which had a lot going for what I wanted to do. And I moved down here. I get down to Georgia, not able to get in contact with him. So I contact the head coach at Kennesaw State. Said, "Yo, I was coming to get a to start or whatever." And he said, "Well, son, the grad assistant position isn't available, but I don't mind you training with us." And he said the coach Joel, he said he's actually on suspension for something that had happened. Right? I done picked up my whole life, moved to Kennesaw. Right? Was there with a week with a family member. Another week was with a cousin. After that was an extended stay. I'm trying to get everything to make sense, because this is what I wanted to do. This is what we talked about earlier. Desire, right? Desire will trigger that energy releasing. But cool, it's no turning back. Like it's no plan B. It's plan A, right? The other option is find another way for plan A to work. So I'm like, okay, whatever. He eventually gets back there. I'm training, right? I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe 30 to 45 days. I'm in the coach's office with the coaches. I had built a relationship, and they're like, yo, today is Joel's last day. Mind you, this was my coach. And I'm like, last day? They're like, yeah, he got a job. He's going to wherever, West Bumble on the West. I'm like, cool. So I'm out there at practice with him the last day. He never says a word. He don't say anything about it. Right? We sit beside each other. I look at him, he look at me, and then he just acts like everything's normal. He leaves. I haven't seen him since. This was 2014. I leave now. Back when I was still developing, the older version of Paris, like I was pretty aggressive. So like the moment that happened, he automatically went on. Hit list is a very extreme choice of words, but he was already on my negative list. This was years ago. Okay, years pass, years pass or whatever. I find new coaches. I do this, that, and the fourth. I'm in Tennessee, at Vanderbilt University. We're in there, and everybody has to wear masks. I'm laying down. Okay, I'm laying down, and I look up and lock eyes with somebody because people are running, and it was Joel Pearson, okay? And my spirit already knew who it was, like mask and all. Like I already knew who it was, and I realized this was my first time seeing this person since 7 years ago. So I'm laying down. I got a race in a little bit. I gotta start warming up for a race in a little bit. And I just lay there, right? And I'm like, all right. And I'm just sitting. And I'm like, okay, maybe I won't see him anymore because it's a lot of people at track meets. I get up a little later. I start warming up, right? And it's like that reticular activating system, right? Now I'm spotting them from miles away. And I realized because of where we are in the events that were going on, I was going to have to continue seeing him, right? And so, like I told you, these things are a practice. Like the older side of me, I use the analogy, it's in a cage, like trapped deep inside of me, but it's not able to come out, right? So I felt somebody like shaking on the bars. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. So I'm warming up, right? And when you warm up, like you already hype, a lot of energy or whatnot, because you got to get ready to do what you do best when you get on the track. So I'm warming up, and I feel I'm usually hype, but I'm getting hyper than usual. So I'm like, Paris, you're not upset. So I stopped the entire warm up. Oh, matter of fact, I'm running past, so I'm doing runouts, and like he's kind of, I'm gonna say in the way for lack of better words. Like when you start sprinting, it's kind of hard to stop, right? It's kind of hard to stop. And so being an athlete, I know how to weed by people, and we made eye contact again. And like he wanted to kind of say hey, but he was hesitant because he still knows the old me. Like he knows 2014, 2013, 2012 Paris Simmons, right? That's all he knows. And like he kind of hesitated, like a little mumble, right? And me, I'm in the zone. Like, it's nothing to talk about. But I get back there, I'm like, Paris, you're not upset. Like, go walk to him and wish him well. Right? So I stop the entire warm up. I go walk to him, and it's like a weight was lifted off his shoulders. I said, "Hey, what's going on? You out here? You one of your people running?" He was like, "Yeah, man, I got somebody who is competing in the 3,000 or whatnot." They were finishing the 3,000 or the mile, and he finished the race, and he was like, it was a PR for him, a personal record. So I wished him the best, the team the best, chatted a little bit, wished them all well, went on about my way. And that, I say that because that came from intentional practice, right? Being able to respond to stuff. Like, the reactive side of me years ago, it probably would have been on site. I mean, we in the track meet, so it would have been on site verbally. I would have said something years ago, right? But I had to get to a place of response. And I had to understand, like, look, the me that I wasn't getting me the ideal results that I want. Even though this has nothing to do with business, I got to learn how to respond as a human, right? Because the highest vibration of all is love. So if I'm trying to raise my vibration, I got to master getting to that point in any single situation, right? In any single situation. This is critical. This is very critical. Like, a lot of people I know, I see the laughing. I can't even remember which part. But this is really critical. Like, this is something that I live by, and I've been intentional on mastering that every single part of my life. And once you do that, a lot of things are going to start to change. Because whenever you react, you lose. But whenever you respond, the same situation happened, but you're not going to let it control you. Okay? You're not going to let it control you. My paradigm is I'm always in control, no matter what the situation is. Always. Doesn't matter what happened. Doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter how wrong it may be, right? You got to train yourself to only see the good in people. You got to train yourself to only see the good in people. And once you do that, every single thing will change, right? Every single thing will change, right? It's not even caged. Like, that's gone. Why? Because I'm in control. I knew I wasn't upset. Right? I'm in control, and every single time. It doesn't matter what happens, right? I'm not going to get rattled, right? I'm not going to be bothered. I'm not going to be startled, right? Now, it's a practice. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is simple, right? But you got to be intentional about it, right? Because without decision, nothing is going to change. Without decision, nothing is going to happen. Without decision, nothing is going to be new in your life. You got to make the decision to change, right? And continue changing. I'm continuously changing my paradigm. I'm continuously getting new information. I'm going to hop off this call, right? I'm going to have more information going into me overnight before I got to wake up to weights. I'm going to wake up for weights, and I'm still going to listen to stuff because I still got to get this information, guys. So that is today's Believe Bigger Faster call. I definitely hope you all found some value. We're getting ready for Atlanta Run to Play in June, getting ready for I Am Beyond Glendale in September. We're going to have a mansion party in Arizona, Glendale, in September for the team. Details are going to come, but early bird pricing for the tickets are about to go, meaning prices are about to raise. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, you want to get that immediately. If you want to capitalize on a promotion, contact me ASAP before they raise. Make sure that your team is plugged in. Make sure they know as well, in case they're trying to catch it before the raise goes up. For my people who are desiring to build a business, you want to master promoting, you want to go ahead and put out really a goal for how many people you want with you at Run to Play, how many people you want with you at Glendale, right? And then you must take it a step further. You want to invest into what it is that you want to accomplish, right? One thing David says all the time is, listen, Paris, I've invested millions into Believe Nation. Justin has invested hundreds of thousands. Now, maybe it's not at that level, right? But you can start somewhere, right? You can start somewhere to really show that it is that you want. Guys, you got to get in a decision state, okay? You have to get in a decision state. Once you make a decision, you're automatically going to trigger a new set of energy, which is going to attract everything that's required for the manifestation of y'all goal Love y'all. Super excited for what's to come. This is live in the group, so it'll always be recorded. I'm not really the fall personality type of guy, so I'm not the best on dropping recordings, but this way y'all always got access to what it is. You can come back, and I keep everything dated, right? That's the most fall you're gonna get out of me, but I keep everything dated so y'all can come back and check it. Love y'all. Paris Simmons checking out. I see you on top of the moon, because the sky is never the limit. Make sure you stay in this information. Today is Monday, close out Monday, so tomorrow starts the new pay cycle. Let's get to it, guys. It's a tsunami of wealth that's going to happen in your business. It's a tsunami of wealth that's going to happen in all aspects of your life, guys. So step into it, apply the things that I talked about, and yeah, love y'all. We're going to get to it. Let's win.